There are several things that have happened over these past few days regarding when we'll be able to play Ashes of Creation, how much you'll have to pay to get in and test the game for its Alpha 2, and the direction and communication of the game. I don't think we got to where we are currently by any malicious intent. I think this just happens when you're creating the most ambitious MMO of all time. I also don't believe the issues we're facing now are 100% a direct result of this past stream. I think it's been more of a slow buildup that's now exploded. Let's go back to the Bard Showcase on July 31st. This day was supposed to be the day that we as a community felt that our patience had been acknowledged. Steven has continuously said that they wouldn't give dates that they aren't sure they can't hit, and this reassured our community until it didn't. Alpha 2 was no longer slated for Q3, even after being announced earlier this year that it was. After countless Discord messages from Steven saying that they are still on track for Q3, and after their June development server meshing live stream where they said that it'd be possible for us to have a date for when Alpha 2 is releasing in Q3, we did not get one. Instead, we got a pushback to October 2024 and the announcement of the AMA that recently happened on August 16th. This was the first problem, and although it wasn't a big deal since most people, including myself, thought that if we were going to get an Alpha 2 date, it would have been late September anyway. So what's a month pushback? So we brushed it off and patiently waited for the AMA. Can I just say something really quick? Why did this all have to happen during the Bard Showcase? Why couldn't it have been the Fighter Showcase? That's when we saw the Renkai. Nobody likes those dudes. No, matter of fact, let me talk to somebody in HR. I'm sick of this. You know what I'm saying? Steven, I'm hurt. I don't even care about the Alpha 2. I'm going through a lot. August 16th, the day of the AMA. This is where things took a hard turn. If you aren't aware, during the showcase, Alpha 2 has now been slated for October 25th. Pretty cool, right? Well, sort of. Alpha 2 is going to consist of 3 different phases, and Phase 1, being released on October 25th, is limited to 3-day testing periods for 8 weeks until Phase 2. Let's clear some things up. We have heard several times that Alpha 2 is going to be persistent, but what does that mean? Does it mean persistent from the day it's released or persistent after a certain period of time? I think most people in the Ashes of Creation community believe that it was going to be the prior, meaning as soon as it's released, we'll be able to get in there, test the content, have fun, and destroy the entire Kaivek race. Destroy the entire Kaivek race? I mean, who put that in the script? Come on. Regardless of what persistent means to you, I think there was one simple fix that could have helped us avoid this entire situation. Every single live stream, Steven starts out by saying that this is a work in progress. So we know things are going to change. If they knew that this was the approach that they were going to take, then I believe small reminders here and there would have been beneficial to the project. I'm not saying that the current and incoming players for Ashes of Creation shouldn't do their research to find out when they can play the game, but I am saying that situations like this tend to get blown out of proportion when things like this arise, especially in gaming. So if you can remind everyone that, hey, this is an actual alpha. You're not gonna be playing some finished MMO. I want you to know that. What does it hurt to be like, listen, our version of persistence is different than what you're all imagining right now. We want to let you guys know so you're not caught off guard. Now, if they didn't know that this was the approach that they were going to take, then that's a different story. After we found out that the Alpha 2 was being pushed back to October, I said that they should delay it again until January 2025. I said this because it's the end of the year, some big holidays are coming up, and if the project isn't 100% ready, then take this extra time and we'll start fresh at the start of 2025. It seems like they might need a little more time to work on the project, but are still trying to keep their word, and I could be wrong, but that's kind of how it feels. This was the second problem, and it doesn't help that it led right into the third problem. The prices for testing the Alpha 2 are currently $120 for Phase 1, $110 for Phase 2, and $100 for Phase 3. Again, communication. I think that if they started off by saying that we need a bit more funding because we don't want to have to go to a publisher or fill in the blank, people would have responded in a much lighter tone. We then found out we aren't getting the character creator before Alpha 2 anymore that was originally planned. We're going to get it alongside Alpha 2 during Phase 1. So now we have a delay. We have a 3-day testing period that probably could have been communicated slightly better. And now we have some pricey Alpha 2 keys that initially didn't come with anything else. So it's kind of like, how are people not supposed to be upset? And I'm not saying pitchfork be upset, but I think it's very natural to feel bummed out. All of this information was revealed to us in the last 3 weeks, which is probably why people are so upset, because things turned around so quickly. As someone who tested during the Alpha 1 phase, I even think that the Alpha 2 keys are too high. And before they made any changes, Alpha 2 testing was all that came with it. They stated that they may have had another charge for beta access in the future. To be fair though, they did listen and act immediately, which I believe should be applauded. When you buy an Alpha 2 key now, you'll also receive access to Beta 1 and Beta 2, 1 month of subscription time, and $15 in Embers, which is their game currency. This is part of the reason that I don't think any of these things that have happened were done in a malicious way. Intrepid has never shown us that they don't care, or that if the community has a genuine concern, they won't address it. I think a lot of this boils down to who they are, which is why I believe everything that has been transpiring is a necessary evil. What do I mean by that? Intrepid has never created a game of this magnitude before. Yeah, there's Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, but that game was to aid in the creation of this one. This is their main thing, and I believe that there are going to be a lot of growing pains. A lot of people who are following the project have been doing so for a few years, and are probably feeling that burnout, wear and tear, whatever you want to call it. Let me say though, that this stuff is probably going to happen when, 1, there's open development. Since we're in an open development state, we're going to feel almost obligated to know everything, and when something goes uncommunicated or miscommunicated, we might lash out. Let's not let that happen. Remember why you started following this project. And 2, this is the most ambitious MMO of all time. Delays are probably going to happen. I know we don't want to hear that, but it is what it is. You say you want to play a game that will last for years to come, okay, so don't be upset when the process isn't aligned with what you think it should be. I'm still saying I'm not a fan of the 3-day testing, delayed until the beginning of 2025. That way, that's when we're supposed to be in phase 2, we can get that persistence we're looking for, and they get the rest of 2024 to work on the game. If the 3-day testing period is what they really want to do, doesn't matter to me, because I'm still gonna play it, and I want to see the game be great. And look, dog, a lot of y'all are out there coping right now, saying nothing was wrong with what happened. Look, if nothing was wrong, nothing would have been changed. Intrepid isn't a company that just changes things on the drop of a dime. Everything isn't always gonna go the way we think it should.